Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. Pakistan has always demanded justice for the Kashmiri brethren. We have also always tried to show the world the atrocities committed by the Indian occupied forces in Kashmir. We've tried to tell the world the story of the Kashmiris. And the words by Farooq Abdullah, when he categorically says that, India needs to sit with Pakistan and have a dialogue if Kashmiri issue is to be resolved, echo us. Let's talk about the effect of this statement. Let's talk about the fact that the Indian media seems to have taken a very negative role as far as criticizing the statement is concerned. Let's talk about America's intervention as far as Kashmir issue is concerned. Pakistan's welcoming that, whereas India decides that it will not let America facilitate this issue. Let's talk about all of that today. I have with me Altaf Hussain Wani Saab. Thank you so much for joining me today. Dr. Waleed Rasool Saab, who's an expert on Kashmir. Thank you for being with us today. To start off with you, Dr. Waleed Saab, it is clearly an issue that Pakistan has tried consistently to tell the world, like I said earlier, what is happening in Kashmir and try to show the world the true face of the Indian occupied forces, what they're actually doing in Kashmir. We saw what happened yesterday in Kashmir. We saw the resolve of the youth in Kashmir and the fact that it is now they have become fearless and in the face of this opposition, in the face of this cruelty. What can you tell us about that?
I think there is a clear message by the masses of the Kashmir who are inhabiting in the area that their struggle, the resistance is against India, and it is having mass involvement, and the majority of the people want that they should be given their right, which is being accepted by United Nations.
Right.
And number one. Number two, there is a resistance at all levels. Either it is political, diplomatic, legal, and very important thing is that Islamabad is a party to dispute as per international law, as per United Nations resolution. So at different forms, Pakistan is raising the issue and it is having a formidable impact.
Right.
Particularly the statement of the American ambassador, the statement within the Kashmir, and the few Indians who accept that this is a reality. If we talk about the democracy, then the majority of the Kashmiri people had voted against India. It is a simply democratic procedure.
Right.
And number two, if there is 70% vote as being propagated by Indian media, despite we will agree that let's take their calculation of 7%, that means 93% are totally against. And same remarks has been given by Farooq Abdullah. Actually, Farooq Abdullah is contesting himself in election from Srinagar constituency, and he knows that if nobody votes him, then he is nothing.
Right.
And the reality is otherwise. Reality is that Kashmiri people are not accepting Indian occupation at any cost.
Right.
And number fourth is that peaceful transition of this our resistance movement towards youth. And since youth are on the roads, they know that it is our democratic right to vote and to not vote peacefully. And they have not voted, and it means that they have given their verdict against India.
And they have no confidence in the Indian...
and they have given verdict against India. It is very... But when you are talking about the United Nations resolutions, it is a clear-cut directive in 19157 resolution of 1957 that elections are not substitute to right to self-determination. Despite elections are being carried and elections had been happening in Kashmir, they have conducted 17 parliament elections and 17 parliament elections and 21 assembly elections. And always there is a difference that people do not vote, that if there is a notion that it will be for the democracy. If for the democracy, the Kashmiri people, they are going to accept. If it strengthens the Indian position in the Kashmir, then they will vote against, and they have done it.
Right, right. Altaf Saab, you're a part of the Hurriyat leadership. In your opinion, you know, the statements by Farooq Abdullah, they are also rejecting, you know, himself being an Indian and a politician so important. They're rejecting the notion that the Indian occupied forces the Indian media has tried to create in the world. How do you think the world looks at this statement?
I don't think how the world will look over the statement, but the statement
because
is
very
strong,
right.
very strong, very clear. Farooq Abdullah has been an instrument of the Indians in Kashmir since long.
Right.
But the situation on ground, what he has spoken this time is the ground reality on ground.
Right, right.
One of the leaders of National Conference has said that I felt like a renegade on 9th of April when I was roaming about the desert streets of Srinagar and Budgam because nobody was coming to vote.
Right.
And another leader of the same political elite from PDP said that the boycott from the Kashmir is a slap on the face of the leaders who pursue Indian politics in Kashmir.
Right.
So the message from the masses in Kashmir is clear, and Farooq Abdullah has said what he has seen on the ground. In past, he has been saying many things in past about it, but this time the people on the ground have shown to the world that the Indians used their force in past elections from 1951 till 2014, the recent elections. They used all their military might and
right.
forced people to come out and then propagated at the international level. You see that there is elections in Kashmir. Although, as Dr. Waleed said, these elections have nothing to do with the resolution of Kashmir. There is clear directions from the United Nations resolution that no elections on any part of the Kashmir, they cannot decide the future of the Kashmir unless that is decided under the UN auspices in free and fair plebiscite. But the people of Kashmir have given a clear message that this time our youth, our people showed their resolve. They showed that we are not going to come to the force. As already a former Indian foreign minister who was in Kashmir last summer, and then he compiled the report as team. They presented to the Prime Minister Modi, and that report says that the ground situation in Kashmir has changed and Kashmir has gone out of India's hands, and the youth in Kashmir have lost the fear of guns.
Right.
Despite using all this force, the Indians used the courage, and even today, when a polling booth is having 300 security personnel in one polling booth, you can yourself imagine how the Indian democracy works in Kashmir.
And much
that
less
this
people
should
to
be
vote.
a clear message to the international community that the people of Kashmir have voted against India. The people of Kashmir have given a clear-cut verdict in favor of their right to self-determination.
Right.
So,
but Altaf Sahab, in your opinion, you know, earlier Dr. Waleed was also talking about the resolution, and you also mentioned it. Isn't it true that India has flagrantly abused the resolutions, UN resolutions on Kashmir earlier also?
That's true, that India has violated all the international obligations. Whatever international obligations it had, it has violated all those. And the arrogant attitude of India has led to this death and destruction in Kashmir, which we are seeing this time. Right. So it is now the responsibility of the international actors, international forces, all those who want to see the peace in the region or peace at large in this world. Right. They have to see that this peace is endangered. This peace in the Kashmir issue has endangered not only the bilateral relations between India and Pakistan, two nuclear states, but it has endangered the peace in the region and also the peace of the world at large. Right. So it's their duty to call upon the India to give its arrogant attitude. And as you mentioned, that the United Nations diplomat and ambassador in UN said that we are going to offer to solve the Kashmir issue, and India denied it. Right. It's not the first time. India has been denied it time and again. But we say that it is the United Nations, it is the United States, it is the international community who has drafted all these resolutions. These were unanimous resolutions.
Right, and they have seen the way they've been used.
They have seen where there are loopholes. It's their duty to call upon the government of India to give their arrogant attitude towards Kashmir and to settle the Kashmir peacefully.
Right. We've also been joined by Makhdoom Babar Sahab, who's a political analyst. Thank you for being with us. Makhdoom Sahab, you know, like we were earlier, Altaf Sahab is saying that it is now the responsibility of the international community, specifically United Nations, United States, as leaders of the united world to see that this kind of abuse by India is stopped and to see that, you know, the peace in this region is not endangered. In your opinion, how likely is it? Because we haven't seen any sort of reaction to this atrocities in Kashmir, to the abuse in Kashmir, that the kind of reaction that perhaps the world should exhibited.
Thank you very much. Well, I think it has been the responsibility of the entire world community since the day resolution at the UN was passed about Kashmir, but nobody has done anything. We'll be living in some illusions if we think that United States is going to chip in, is going to force. They are selling $100 billion worth weapons to Indians. So they are their biggest clients.
Right.
Can they go and push their clients? The defense minister of United States, the Secretary of Defense, lately visited, he took it from 10 billion to 100 billion defense weaponry. United Nations, we have always seen, UN has never been doing anything in conflict.
But we did see an offer from the US saying that they wish to facilitate, to which we welcomed it.
They have always been saying they wish to facilitate, but they have never done that. We have to see the statements by the Clinton regime. We have to see the statements by the Bush regime. We have to see the statements by Obama administration. They all have been offering that they are desirous of, and India has always been snubbing them. Now, what is the thing? The thing is this: if we need to have some international support, it is the perfect time. AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act, the draconian law that Indians have imposed in occupied Kashmir, they have also taken it to Indian occupied Tibet, that they call is Arunachal Pradesh.
Right.
So China is having equal stakes in this. China is having a very serious role in the regional politics as well as in the international politics.
Right, and it's instrumental for CPEC to go through, for that to go through. There should be, you know, for them.
CPEC is also there, but India is member state of Belt and Road Initiative, that is China's mega project.
Right.
They need to have, they are going to certainly, we have missed one major development that a couple of years back, in the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, during the Spring Festival holidays, when all China is locked, they opened up the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and issued a statement condemning Prime Minister of India's visit to Arunachal Pradesh because it is a disputed area. Similarly, recently after these atrocities in occupied Kashmir by Indian forces on youth and killing of over 100 people at that time, China, for the first time in history, officially denounced it, and they opposed it and said this is a gross human rights violation. So it means that China is now opening up, and China is also trying. So what we need to do is, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our Kashmiri leadership friends, we should have some joint policies with Beijing, and with Beijing being on board, with Beijing being at UN Security Council, with Beijing having a good clout, with Beijing also having Moscow with it and many other important states with it, that channel we should be looking forward from now on. We should stop looking toward the Western, toward the Americans, toward the UN, because they have billions of dollars on stake in their relations with Indians.
Right. I want to come back and talk more about what role China can play, what positive role China can play as far as the resolution of the Kashmir issue is concerned. But first, let's take a short break and we'll come back and talk more on what can China help us with.
BTV announces its corporate application for Android and iOS mobile devices with exciting and new features, more functionality and resources to make your experience wholesome and complete. From news scrolls to web TV to live streaming, PTV News, PTV Sports, PTV World and PTV Home. A complete social media integration and opinion polls so you can share your views and opinions with your network. So install the Android and iOS app right now and get connected with
Welcome back. We were talking about what can China do as far as the resolution of the conflict on Kashmir is concerned between Pakistan and India. Let me, Waleed Saab, in your opinion, do you think that China can play a positive role now that it is heavily involved? It has economic interests with Pakistan and, like Makhdoom Saab mentioned, India also.
When you are seeing the global politics, there are two concepts.
Right.
One is the realistic school of thought and other are liberal or neoliberal school of thought.
Right.
And there is another philosophy that is regional independency. Definitely there will be a regional covalent bond. China is having important role. Number one, when you are involved in the soft power, that is you are strengthening economy on depending on China and Pakistan relationship. Definitely there would be an impact. They have to involve India also, because India is trying to pursue her soft power in different dimensions, number one. Number two, there is a regional connectivity. When you are connecting Gujarat to Kale, and there will be a shortest route that will come to Muzaffarabad, then forward to Mirpur. It means that you have a connectivity along the river Jhelum and river Neelam. Right. Definitely there is a geographical proximity. And number third, since you have a good relationship with China, and China is a P5 power, it's having its say in global politics. Definitely, if you are moving a resolution in United Nations and you have a good relations with America, as their ambassador has given us a small, gentle nudge that they are ready to have a mediation in Kashmir contest. We should think positively.
Which India has rejected.
Yeah, which India definitely they have to reject. They have to reject. But what you are making, it means that you are denying arbitration, you are denying mediation, you are denying facilitation. Then what is the solution? So global community, if we say there is an international community, if there is international community, definitely if one antagonist thinks that she will deny anything which will come peacefully.
Is there international community as far as helping us resolve
definitely.
Humanitarian crisis?
If there would have been not.
There is Syria, there is Palestine, there is Kashmir. How much of a role do you think the international community has had in the resolution of these huge crises?
What is the meaning of the UN?
Right.
And it is the books written by Morgenthau, followed by Cara, followed by Bismarck, and then neoliberalists who think that the democratic liberalization had won after the Cold War. There was no war between Russia and America, because despite having the nuclear weapons. But simply if you have created the United Nations, what is the mandate, main mandate of international politics of the UN? That is to mediate between two nations, that there should not be a third war.
Right.
Definitely there are exceptions. There are some shortcomings. You have to modify the role of United Nations and its Security Council. You need to strengthen your global powers in the context that they will move a modification resolution, United Nations resolution, if there is a more quantum of intensity of the pain. Definitely if you are investing a huge humanitarian cost in the conflict, and there should be some upper level that now this has been done. So definitely when you are talking about international context, is the mega powers who believe in hard power, straight hard power, in which India is one. it will not work in the long run. For example, if you have a relations with the China, then you will be having a soft power.
Right.
Then your economy will move. If you will show your muscles and you will say, no, I am believing in realistic ophthalmology and you have to follow the nobody will listen you. So if India is having her interest in the region, she has to coexistence. Definitely coexist is the only method, despite there are some shortcomings. And number third, when you are talking about some more scholars who are reviving the international relations and the theories and the philosophy upon which the international dynamics works, definitely there are other things which are being read as a paradigm of empirical studies. And in case of Kashmir, as my friend Altaf Saab has already quoted, Sir has already quoted the China's role. Definitely, as a Kashmiri, I will see that China shall be having a formidable role in Kashmir conflict. Definitely, she will be having, because China is a regional power. Nobody can deny it.
Right,
Number two, she is having $150 billion trade with India. Number three, it is her interest if CPAC is being evolved and it is an progressive and liberal some sort of arrangement. It will help India. And definitely if Russia is on the board, if Kazakhstan, Iran is on the board, and in the long run, India have no option to accept CPAC for their own interests. And then Kashmir is in the center.
Right. Altaf Saab, it's true that we have India has interests. It has economic interests with India. It has economic interests in the form of CPEC and in Pakistan also. And of course, it's in their interest to have a peaceful region, not only in India's interests, but it's also Pakistan's, China's, all the stakeholders. But that has been the situation for some time now. Things haven't really changed. Do you think it's because we have shown the world what is happening adequately?
See, I think world is well aware what is happening actually in Kashmir. Everybody is aware about it. We have seen the concerns by all the international actors, human rights organizations, reports by them, everybody. Having said that, the international community has so far failed to resolve the Kashmir issue. That's what both my panelists said, because of their economic interests. They don't, till date, nobody is ready to sacrifice their economic interests on these humanitarian crises. Everywhere we see all these conflicts going on because of their economic interests, their geopolitical interests and all that, strategical interests, these conflicts are taking place. But coming to Kashmir, when the stakes of China, investment in Pakistan, CPEC and other things, and economic interests of India in the region, and to go beyond to the Central Asia and all that through this route, the connectivity, this will also pay to the India. But this was our dream. This, people would say when Modi came to the power with the vision of development. He said development. But now in India, this has taken a different stride. The Modi regime is not less on development. They are more on extremism. They are more on Hindutva. What's happening in India, the people who are taking the power in India in different states, the way the religious minorities in India are being targeted, the way Modi is dealing with Pakistan, the way Modi is dealing with in Kashmir, these all things have already, whatever people in the stage that the Modi's development mantra will work and then we will have some sort of change in the region, that has failed till date. And so it looks that Modi is not ready to talk. Recently, when Modi came to Kashmir, he just threatened the people of Kashmir. He did not offer any dialogue to Pakistan, even threatened Pakistan to give us, to abandon its support to the terrorism and all that. So there are no gestures from India till date that
in fact they repel any gesture by the world to intervene.
They are not ready to accept any gestures from the world, and the Indian leadership is not giving any gestures that they are going to change their policy vis-a-vis Pakistan or Kashmir or in the region. They are trying to build their strategy on what their forefathers envisaged, the Akhand Bharat. They are trying to do that. that's a mere dream. Already Pakistan is in our nuclear state. Pakistan has its own capabilities, and likewise Pakistan has its own international structure. Having said that, the way we said that China can play its role, likewise America has its role, United States has its role. We have to depend on everybody's role. We have to involve each and everyone in the process to resolve the issue. We can't depend on a single country or a single entity that they can do. We have to knock the doors of each and every person who can play its part and remind them of their promises made to the people of Kashmir.
Right. Makhdoom Sahib, we have to knock on every door, like Altaf Sahib is saying. But in your opinion, you know, the fact that India has their own propaganda as far as Kashmir is concerned, you know, for the world to see it as a bilateral issue and not as a humanitarian issue, you know, as an issue where human rights are being abused every day and people are being butchered every day, children are being butchered. India does not want the world to see Kashmir as an issue of human interest. Granted, like Altaf Sahib is saying, that the world knows, but have we been able to hammer it as much as we should have, considering the negative propaganda coming from the Indian side, which we should have countered perhaps?
Absolutely not, because we have been running in wrong direction. We have not been going global. We have not been approaching the global community. We have not been approaching global media.
Right, unfortunately we have to take a short break. We will just be back. Welcome back. We were talking about the role that Pakistan can play in countering the negative propaganda that comes from the Indian side. Yes, Makhdoom Sahib, you know, what do you think we can do? What efforts have we made? Have they been enough? What more can we do?
Yeah, I'm simply telling you that we have done no effort to reach out to international community, to reach out to international media. We have absolutely done nothing. We have not done anything to have a say at the international human rights organization. Just look at the Amnesty International. It was the only organization that has been playing a positive role about human rights violations in Kashmir. But over the past few years, now both top slots in Amnesty International are in the hands of Indians. Their president, their chairman are Indian, and they are saying just nothing. We just are relying on having talk shows and in our own regional areas and having some articles.
But the Prime Minister's address in the UN, where he said Kashmir was the topmost issue for us, then, you know, sending envoys, we have made efforts. But in your opinion, how do we counter the negative?
We have seen the footages on social media, those delegations which were sent, how much they knew about Kashmir.
But in your opinion, how do we counter the negative propaganda?
I think we need to have time from the international mega channels. We need to have talk shows at CNN, BBC level. We have to reach out to through social media to the communities of different countries. And when I'm talking about China, when the human rights seminar is held at Geneva, China and Cuba are just two countries that support Pakistan. UK and US are the two countries that always oppose Pakistan over there. China is having a new diplomatic bloc. That's because I'm the chairman of China Institute of China Studies. That's why I'm telling you, in their new bloc, they have Russians with them, they have Turkish with them, they have Iranians with them, they have even Saudis with them. We need to get benefited from that diplomatic bloc. When I ask China to get engaged, I do not ask that Chinese military should be engaged. We need to have diplomatic support from China. We need to have One Belt, One Road is a mega project that has 64 countries. Do not mix up CPEC with One Belt, One Road. India has no interest in CPEC, but they have interest in One Belt. CPEC is a component of One Belt, One Road or Belt and Road Initiative, and Indians are desperate in getting economic benefits from that. Now on the 14th of May, Prime Minister Modi of India is going to China. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, 64 countries are sending their leaders. They are behind Belt and Road Forum. You know, these are the forums from where we can get China's and other friends of China's support to softly ask Indians to be sane on the Kashmir issue. That is what we can do. We can use the Chinese media channels, we can use the Western media, but everything is private there. You need to have a well-planned approach to get space in those medias, in the social medias of these countries. People sitting at a restaurant in Belgium does not know what is the issue of Kashmir. You have to tell them. People sitting at a cafe in Paris absolutely having no idea what is the issue of Kashmir. You need to reach out to them. On the other side, Indians are doing it. They are giving their narrative very successfully. They are giving their opinion very successfully, and we are not even countering those efforts of India. What to talk about? Launching our own efforts. Ajit Doval is the national security advisor in India. He is actually the intelligence chief, but he is the person who created this militancy in occupied Kashmir. When in 90s he was head of the Intelligence Bureau of India for Kashmir. He was the one who created a conspiracy at Hazrat Bal Shrine. He created many fake freedom fighting organizations of Kashmiris to dent the image of the genuine Kashmiri freedom fighters. At this time, he is at the helm of affairs. Why they have around 0.7 million troops in Kashmir if Kashmir is their own and the people of occupied Kashmir are with them? What is the reason behind why they are not allowing international media to visit Kashmir? Why? Why are they not allowing diplomatic community to have free visit to occupied valley? This is because they have a lot to hide, and it is our job. We should not let them hide. We should remove the cloth that they are trying to put there to hide everything from international media and international community.
Waleed Sahab, what about the role the Kashmiri diaspora can play as far as the issue of Kashmir is concerned around the world, in your opinion?
You know that Edward Said, when replaced from, he migrated from Palestine to other areas, he was having the same sufferings as you are talking about the Kashmir diaspora who are abroad. But you should have a priority of anything. If they have a priority in their priority, the Kashmir issue, they can do a lot. A formidable impact would be on the conflict. But question arises, if you know how to write, you can write in international papers. If you don't have such capability, if you don't understand the dynamics of the conflict, and if you don't have any roadmap, I agree what sir said, that we don't have any such sort of roadmap. These are haphazard things which are happening in multi-directions. Number one. Number two, since you are knowing India is a mega power, they have huge resources, and their capability and capacity is more multifold bigger as compared to we people. Number three, the Kashmiri community or the Kashmir diaspora who are residing in various countries of the globe shall be having a unification of the thought. It's very important. Number two, they must know that they have a tussle with a mega hegemonic and imperialistic power, whose philosophy is based on Chanakya's Arthashastra, that they can tilt at any time and they can show you any poster. Number fourth, in political arena, since it is an legal political dispute, you should be having enough knowledge about either its legality, number one. Number two, its political nature. Number three, the various modules of the resistance. So there should be an integration, a covalent bond between the people who are actually paying the huge cost. They are the principal party. For example, Altaf Saab and his colleagues and the people from the Hurriyat and the people from the resistance movement, they have capability, they have capacity, and they have pen to represent their issue globally. But now they need a platform for launching. If they are being launched, we have a good intellectual there who have paid a huge cost and they have huge investment in the freedom struggle. They can be deputed abroad, number one. You have to create a space in embassies abroad to deploy at least one media person who will promote my cause.
Right.
Number 3, since the international arena is so much complex after 9/11, so you have to make something which is cleverly crafted, knowing the dynamics of the international politics, how it works. It is not very simple. People say that it is very simple. It is not so simple. Rather, it has been made complex. For example, if you are talking that the Kashmiri diaspora who are in America, for example, my boss, Dr. Fai, he was working in America, is having a mega contribution. He was having direct links with White House. He was having his links with the top brass of the Congress, and we have visited there multi times, and is having the big canvas. But he felt the conspiracy from the Indian embassy. So our war is at multi-dimensional forums. We have to dilute the agenda setting of the modules of the India media. We have to know what frames they are promoting via media. We have to know what is behind the agenda and what is being promoted. And number 4 is very important, until and unless there should be not a coordination from my people who are supporting us by heart, that is Islamabad. I mean the government of the Pakistan. We should have a good relationship with our brothers so that they will listen us if they have any sort of, they don't have the clarity in certain things, they have to clear. Number 3, you have to continue your resistance.
It
and
has to be very
that
consistent.
needs support of my own people who are living abroad.
Right. Altaf Sahab, in your opinion, what do you think that the government could do that would perhaps change, show the world the truth about India?
You see, the truth is that about Kashmir, I will say, what my friend said, to a certain level I agree, but to some extent I will disagree on Kashmir. I will say, as per the Kashmir issue is concerned, the sufferings of people of Kashmir are concerned. Every Kashmiri who is outside world, who is outside in overseas, in whatever capacity he has, he is doing his best to educate the common masses according to his capability and capacity. We have seen in the last summer.
As is true of our Pakistanis also. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have today. It is a fact that Pakistan has consistently supported Kashmir. It has consistently tried to show the world the flagrant abuse conducted there every day by the Indian occupied forces. It is a fact that we are close to the Kashmiris. We remain close to their cause, and it is a fact that we will continue to fight with our Kashmiri brethren. Thank you so much for joining me today on Perspective.
आईन अमल दरामद का तकाजा करता है।
डॉक्टर साहब, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूँगा, जिस तरह उस वक्त तमाम तर जमातों के अकाबरीन मिलजुल के दस्तखत कर रहे थे, आज ऐसा मौका कैसे आ सकता है कि सारे महमूद व इयाज एक सफ़ में खड़े हों और मुल्क की बेहतरी के लिए मिलजुल के काम कर सकें?
लेकिन जी, इसका आगाज तो खुद मौजूदा हुक्मरानों ने करना है। या तो पार्लियामेंट के अंदर तमाम जमातें